As the 2024 season has gone on, we have managed to get a look at the floors of the Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes cars. And in this video, we are going to walk from the front to the back of these floors and talk about some of the more intriguing features of each underfloor. Starting from the floor fences, 3 teams have taken one direction, while Mercedes becomes a standout player in this segment. Ferrari, Red Bull and McLaren have this inner fence cutout which Mercedes does not have, possibly to create pressure differences, consequently increasing the strength of the vortex generated. Looking at the Mercedes design, they have profiled elements way different to rival teams. The second element is smaller than average, while the third and fourth elements extend above the floor attachment. Mercedes are aiming to channel a greater amount of fluid flow the lower part of the car through the central fences, generating significant load, while the upper fins generate greater outwash. Coming to Ferrari, Red Bull and McLaren, these 3 teams have taken a similar approach in terms of profiling. The second and third fences contribute to supply more fluid mass to the side extractors, generating additional load, while the outermost fourth fence is utilised to generate the most outwash. Now, let's move on to the first item of intrigue, the floor edge, a part which is responsible for providing both a stable aerodynamic seal to reduce aerodynamic losses while generating supporting loads. These images are from the Monaco Grand Prix, so up-to-date specs are considered here. Starting from Ferrari, the initial zone of the extractor is curved forward to align with the direction of the incoming fluid. The entire upper surface of this element, simplifying the concept, can be considered as a wing that therefore generates load. The lower surface, on the other hand, contributes to the expansion of the fluid coming from the floor and in this way generates downforce. In order to better extract the fluid, there are appendages on this surface, which in the case of Ferrari are not intended to generate load. The MCL38's floor edge has a similar shape to that of Ferrari's car, but vary drastically when aerodynamics is considered. We see that in the initial portion, the extractor is curved so as to align the appendage with the local direction of the current and thus generate load. In addition, it is clear that the element itself has only 2 profiles. Unlike Red Bull, which take care of the extraction and at the same time generate additional load. Compared to the Ferrari version, McLaren also have a greater angle in the vertical axis. The airflow that comes out of the bottom is then accelerated towards the rear edge. Elements with a shape similar to that of real aerodynamic foil that actually generates downforce. Moving on to Red Bull, the edge design gets a little intricate. This extractor has a dual role: to extract the fluid from the floor more effectively and at the same time generate downforce, exactly as is the case of McLaren. But the RB20 takes the design to the extreme, as the first appendage is broken into 2 sections to boost the upwash effect. The dissimilar angle of the major core directs the airflow with the direction of the current lines, helping generate greater local pressure to generate powerful vortexes to help seal the floor from turbulences such as front tyre wake, hence provides a much cleaner airflow towards the diffuser's top. Finally, let's take a look at the Mercedes version. The W15's floor edge design works much different to that of its rivals. As first, this extractor profile has 5 channels, most utilised by any team. Looking in terms of airflow, these 5 channels are not designed in a way to generate any sort of load. Judging by the side of the channels, the sole purpose of the extractor on the W15 is to extract airflow from underneath the car. Use that fluid flow to generate power vortexes to seal the underfloor to limit the entry of turbulent and harmful airflow into the diffuser. Let's move on further and talk about a super juicy part now, the underfloor itself. Let's kick it off with the McLaren underfloor, images captured at the Miami Grand Prix. The first thing you notice is the diffuser profiling, which we will talk about in detail shortly. We can also see a single step being applied which is combined with keel expansion, something which almost every team has applied. It's great to see that teams are trying to use this keel expansion to reduce excessive suction of the floor behind the skid plates, which in turn helps in preventing porpoising. The floor only has about 1 kick line about here, and the floor tunneling is fairly simple, as the airflow result should be something like this. Taking a look at the RB20 underfloor, these pictures from Monaco are not the best to identify all the details, but we get to see a little. From this angle, we can see Red Bull have implemented 2 steps, but other than that, we can't see any other detail. As for Mercedes and Ferrari, since they made updates to their cars, we have not been able to get any images on their respective underfloors. Now we can get into the bit I'm sure you're all waiting for, which is of course the diffusers. Looking at the RB20's diffuser, immediate details you notice are the two kick lines, the keel expansion that is included onto the step, and most interestingly, expansion profiling made to the diffuser roof itself. The expansion profiling made is the most interesting part, as it is central, backed up by supports either side and a vertical kick line. Why have Red Bull done this, you may ask? Well, normally, there are many aerodynamic losses around the diffuser of a Formula 1 car, losses that translate into a loss of downforce. The best way to reduce those losses is by generating more pressure, hence an expansion created centrally provides additional pressure support within the area, reducing the amount of losses. Checking out the SF24's diffuser, we can see big differences in philosophy between Red Bull and Ferrari. Looking at how the diffuser roof is profiled, Ferrari are focusing more on generating outwash around the corner, while preferring to use an expansion around the centre to reduce aero losses. Same aim as Red Bull, but pitched differently in design. Looking at McLaren's diffuser, profiling seems to be more in line with Ferrari's trajectory, providing outwash towards the corner while generating supporting loads inboard. The difference is McLaren's design looks simpler than Ferrari's or Red Bull's, but still results are pretty close. Looking at the W15's diffuser, it's pretty simple, as the roof profiling is way behind competitors lacking detail. But with Mercedes feeling the W15 now has a good balance, future updates will work around the diffuser profiling to make better use of this space. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did the best I could to provide you guys with a detailed analysis with the images I had access to. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me.